Welcome back to another episode of Mock Draft. I got all the boys here from the Feo Grande YouTube network, and we're breaking down another top 10 list. This week it is the top 10 GOATs of all time. This is not who you think the GOAT is. This is not who the internet thinks the GOAT is. This is who we think the GOAT is. Our personal top 10 list. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to count them down, starting with 10, going up to number 1. Everybody gets a point. Number 10 gets 1 point. Number 1 gets 10 points. We'll add them up at the end and see who the definitive Feo Grande top 10 GOATs of all time are. We are all educated fans and can provide a well-developed opinion.
Almost 30 years of watching wrestling among us all. So, yes.
Dang.
Yes.
For our 10?
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then 3, 2, 1.
What's your actual answer, Jess?
I don't know if y'all can see that.
Randy. Okay.
I don't know if y'all can see that. Damn.
No.
Mercedes.
Mercedes won.
Mercedes
All right, so
Moné.
we have Mercedes
Really?
Moné.
Mercedes Moné. All right.
Omari, what was yours?
Kenny Omega.
Randy Orton, after Samantha Irvin joke.
Samantha Irvin. Randy Orton.
And then I chose Scott Hall.
Yeah. So I picked Mercedes Moné because I think she is the greatest female wrestler in North America of all time. I think she is like in-ring ability, and I think like a bunch of women are inspired by her. Her and Bayley put women's wrestling in North America on the map, so you got to give her credit for what women's wrestling is today in North America.
Jazz, you want to go with Randy Orton?
Randy Orton. So, I was thinking who would I put for number 10 because, as we all discussed, coming up with, 10 GOATs is crazy. But, look, there's something to be said for not just being around for as long as Randy Orton has been around, but also been on top. The man was on top when he first got into the business, found himself, got bigger. The man had the high profile legend killer, punting everybody into oblivion. The 09 Orton is legendary to this day. And there really, like I say, is something to be said for the fact that you got somebody who has been there forever, never really left for that long, stayed around, always been on top.
I had Scott Hall, the bad guy, aka Razor Ramon. Scott Hall is one of the greatest of all time. That's the only way I could say it. He is one of, if not the greatest wrestler to never hold a heavyweight title. He is one of the greatest sellers of all time. He is one of the greatest wrestling minds of all time. He saw a thing getting popular in Scarface and was like, you know what? Let me do that.
That was his idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
he had a good buddy in a new place that he was working at, struggling, trying to figure out what he was going to do with the rest of his career. And he goes, hey, yo, I saw this movie. It's called The Crow. You should check it out. I think it would be a good wrestling.
That was his idea. Oh, shit.
Scott Hall invented Crow Sting. Greatest of all time. Number 10 for me.
That is entirely fair. Kenny Omega is on my list. He made it in, I think we all said, picking 10 GOATs. It's crazy. But I will say, for someone whose list probably is going to skew heavily in WWE territory when it comes to this category, I did want to, include a guy who's, it's one man's opinion, but everybody seems to agree with said one man. He has like a ton of 5-star matches. He's ridiculous at that
5-star plus.
point. I don't think AEW's first run is nearly as strong if you don't have him included in the card and everything as a draw and all of that. I am good.
And in 3, 2, 1. Bruno Sammartino for Jazz, Rowdy Piper, Brock Lesnar, and Manami Toyota.
Strictly talking about him as a wrestler, he came in as the next big thing. He was a freak of nature, and people bought it immediately. It was real easy to buy. He had that first ridiculous run, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, all that kind of stuff. It was clear Brock Lesnar was something of the future. Leaves the WWE, goes to UFC, wins the championship in UFC against Randy Couture, so it's not like he beat a scrub to do it. Has the title there for a while, then comes back, doesn't seem to miss a beat, has, I think, better matches than he did beforehand, even though he largely became suplex related.
Number nine for me is Rowdy Piper.
Speaking of never won a championship.
Yeah. Before I found folks that will be farther on my list, I found Rowdy Piper. I was a big classic pay-per-view VHS watcher. That's how I talk the wrestling. And I was never a Hulk Hogan guy. I was always whoever was not Hulk Hogan. Whether it be Ultimate Warrior, like the biggest single peak as a child was probably Warrior for me. But Roddy Piper was the largest sustained. You want somebody on a mic, like you want somebody to sell a match for this Sunday. I don't know if there are many people better than this guy.
I'm over here and I'm trying to think, who can I put on the list? Real talk. And of course, a lot of names just come like that. And when you think of wrestling, you think of who people mean to the business in and of itself. One of the names that did pop into my head was Bruno Sammartino. If we were talking about not just our favorites, but we're talking about the top 10 greatest of all time, in all actuality, Bruno Sammartino should probably be number one on all of our lists, if we're talking about what they mean to wrestling and what they did for wrestling.
So I said Manami Toyota. So a lot of people do not like Dave Meltzer for whatever reason. I read him every now and then for news, and sometimes read him for like match suggestions. If he says like this was a 5-star match or above, I'll check it out every now and then. So he's rated Manami Toyota like 5 stars here, 5 stars there, 5 star, 5 star. I'm like, let me check out Manami Toyota. So I went on YouTube and looked at Manami Toyota. She had a match. I forget the girl's name, but she fought her as like 94, 95, something like that. Dude, she was doing shit nobody's doing now. No woman's doing now. No man's doing now in wrestling right now. Back in 94, 95. So if y'all ever get a chance, check her out on YouTube. Y'all see what I'm talking about. It's some of the craziest shit in the world, dude. Listen to me. Can y'all see mine?
Oh my god.
Can y'all see mine?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I missed him. That's the first one that I'm upset about. I'll start on this one. A lot of the same shit that Ibn said. Basically, on this slot, I was like, which 4 horsewoman am I going to put here? And for me, Bayley is my personal favorite. When I jumped back into wrestling and started absorbing all of the 4 horsewoman stuff, she was just the one that I emotionally connected with the most.
Had Mr. Reigns, the tribal chief and all of that, the big dog, etc., Mr. Uwa himself. I've at least been partially a Roman Reigns fan for the majority of his career. There was a time where I was just like everybody else, and it's like, oh my God, can he lose the title already? Or, okay, the big dog ain't working, Vince. We can stop this now. But before I was there, hey, that was my original favorite member of the Shield. I remember the first time I saw the dude, I liked the alliteration, I liked the look, and I'm like, yeah, Roman Reigns, that sounds like a cool name. It was like his one promo in NXT before he went to main roster.
Triple H, man, Triple H, come on. Let's go back to fucking the Attitude Era, and let's talk about the fact that, and I've seen people talk about this in interviews and heard a little bit of speculation. I think it's not speculation. Triple H was like, yo, all these motherfucking people are amazing at what they do. We got The Rock, we got Stone Cold, we've got Kane, we've got Undertaker. We've got all these people who are top dogs, and they're amazing faces. I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to be the number one bad guy. I'm going to be the number one heel. I'm going to be the guy that everybody loves to hate. And what did Triple H do outside of Vince McMahon, who is the number one heel pretty much throughout the entirety of the Attitude Era when you really think about it? It is one Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It is Triple H.
Kurt Angle, man.
Great pick.
The first Olympic wrestler to come to professional wrestling and straight up kill it. Like, dude, he took to it like a fish to water, man. Like, I wrestled for like a year in high school, my 10th grade year. I fucking sucked.
Oh.
But the object of amateur wrestling is to not be on your back, because once you land on your back, that's it. In professional wrestling, you're gonna be on your back all the time. Right. So that had to be hard for him to do. So he took to this shit like a fish to fucking water, became one of the greatest of all time.
And 3, 2, 1.
Y'all see that?
Jeff Hardy, Triple H, Trish Stratus, and I have Seth freaking Rollins.
No wonder you agree with me about Triple H. Let's go.
Triple H. Enough said.
Trish Stratus. So speaking of spoiler alerts, I was thinking, and if I'm thinking of, all goats or whatever, she is the only female on my list right now that I could really truly think of. Because one thing I was thinking of too was impact and tenure. And when I think of Trish Stratus, when you think of, and I'm thinking of like not just the hardcores, but even the casuals. When you think of women's wrestling, especially within the last 30 or so years, the one name that comes to mind is Trish Stratus, and maybe the second is Lita.
So Seth Rollins, I said my most controversial pick, I think, because one, he's never really been the top guy in his company, and two, next to Bayley, he's going to be my youngest on the list. But when I came back to wrestling, he was the world heavyweight champion on Raw, and he was wrestling almost on a weekly basis, doing a lot of Raw world title defenses. He very quickly became my favorite active wrestler when I started wrestling again.
But yeah, no. So Jeff Hardy, man. So he is like one of the blueprints for that daredevil, high-flying type of style everybody has nowadays. Your Will Ospreays, your Darby Allin, stuff like that. And like no care for your body, no care for like you live or die, and it's just fun to watch, man. I love that shit. So like he was one of my favorites growing up, and he's still one of my favorites now. And I just hope he continues to do what he does if he can.
There he is.
Yeah, I couldn't not. We got Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, and Bryan Danielson.
How about the fact that Mick Foley and Ric Flair came on at the same position?
Ibn was about ready to say his piece on Kurt Angle, and then I was saying in my mind my little button that I was going to add when Ibn was done, and I was like, well, I can't. He needs to be on this list, because what I was about ready to say is he could literally do anything. anything in the business that they call professional wrestling, Kurt Angle is one of the best at.
Oh yeah.
He is one of the best ever at talking, at comedy, at drama, at a physical match, at a comedy match, at a jobber match, whatever you needed him to fucking do. You needed him to go out there and embarrass himself and show his ass in front of 20,000 people. He will walk out there and do it with a smile on his face.
You need him to go out there and embarrass his opponent.
Yeah, you need him to go out there and just murder somebody. Done.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson.
I contemplated him. I did.
Just one of the greatest of all time, man. Like seriously, like just like you said, Bill. You ask him to do anything, he can fucking do it. Like the dude can do technical, he can do comedy, he can do squash, he can do jobber, he can do serious, he can do hardcore, he can do high flying. If you want him to do it, he can fucking do that shit. The dude is one of the greatest of all time. I see Pete laughing because of Jazz. You laughing, right?
What? Richard Fleer, Ric Flair. Come on. I mean, what does arguably considered to some people the greatest of all time say his greatest of all time is? Stone Cold. Every time he brings up who he asks other people, what's your greatest? He said, who's your greatest? Ric Flair's my GOAT. I mean, if he's your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, a lot of people will give credit to Ric Flair. When you talk about, okay, the San Martinos and what they did for wrestling, ushering it in after the territory. When you talk about your Hogans and what they did ushering it into mainstream. On the other hand is also Ric Flair and what he did. And also, like I said, with Triple H, as far as the heel persona, Ric Flair was one of, and is a career heel, but he was one of the people ushering in the bad guy. They always said you need two to tango. And Ric Flair was right there. Okay, you want to love this guy? Ric Flair said, okay, well, boo me. And I'm going to give you a reason to boo me. Because I can take your woman. I got all this money. Blah, 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 blah. And then depending on who you ask, people say he really lives that lifestyle behind the scenes. Now that's, I don't know, but still. But real talk, you talk about somebody amazing, not just good, amazing on the fucking mic. You talk about somebody who's great in the ring. You talk about somebody who is a great face and an even better heel, and just the impact. I mean, even fucking Migos had a fucking song called Ric Flair Drip. That's how much the man's impact is. Come on now.
No. Objectivity won out, and Mick Foley made my list. Mankind, that match that a lot of people talk about and a lot of people are annoyed with. Oh, it's not really that good. You just like it because it had spots in it. Okay, there's a few companies out there nowadays that are built on spots. Leave me alone. Let me have my match. Fucking Taker versus Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell. That's the one I'm talking about. But then there's other Hell in a Cell matches that he's had as well. You talked about Randy earlier. Numerous things have come out where Randy himself, as well as others, are like, oh, that match he had with Mick Foley is what made him. And and for a lot of people, that was back in the day. There was the whole, Triple H is your heel to your favorite faces, but Mick Foley was the litmus test of whether or not you could really hang and be in this business from top to bottom. You want to prove you're something? Here's a match with Foley. And he took the whole he was that guy that sold the dream to the people who would be in bed for the rest of their lives, realistically.
And in 3, 2, 1. Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, and Sting.
When you think of reinvention in wrestling, what's the first name that comes to mind and staying relevant? There may be a few names you think of, but what's one name that you think of?
Jericho's definitely in there.
No, I was going to say, there might be a few names that you think of when you think of wrestle for 1,000,001 companies. But when you think of somebody who's been the top dog at every company that they've touched, Chris Jericho's name comes to mind. When you think of somebody who's had tenure in the business for decades and decades and decades and been number one or one of the top guys for all the decades and stayed relevant, Jericho's name comes to mind.
I had Sting. I really enjoyed blonde super babyface Sting, but I wasn't a huge WCW head yet. It wasn't until The Outsiders and Hollywood Hogan that I really started putting eyes on WCW, and then Crow Sting was my dude. He was the guy
Undeniable.
for me for at least a year there.
Omega.
Ah,
Kenny
yes.
Jerome Omega.
They made no Jerome.
No, he is one of the greatest of all time, man. I remember first hearing about him back in like the last decade. People talking about him online, like this guy Kenny Omega. He's supposed to be like one of the greatest of all time, and I'm like, yo, man, let me check this dude out. So they were talking about him and Okada, and it was like an hour-long match. And I saw that shit. I'm like, yo, this is insane. Like, you weren't seeing what they were doing in WWE around that time. It was like 2018.
Yeah.
You were not seeing what they were doing in WWE around that time. I'm like, yo, that blew my fucking mind. Like, so Kenny Omega is one of the greatest of all time, and I just had to put him at number 5.
HBK. Enough said. Like, you want to talk about people needing to, like, you can wrestle a broom, you can wrestle whatever you want. It's HBK.
2, 1. I went with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Jazz has John Cena. Omari's is blank.
You can't see it?
Oh God.
Oh no. No, Will Ospreay is the best in the world right now. Nobody's doing it like him. Like, nobody's doing it like him. He's killing it. Like he's just doing shit that you will not see anybody else do right now at this moment in time. Like, for real. Like, I just cannot explain what the man does, but when you see it, you know what the fuck I'm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is number 4 on this list because he's one of the greatest of all time. He has won multiple heavyweight championships. He was the guy in the company for several years.
Yeah.
He has claims to being one of the biggest draws, one of the biggest merch sellers of all time. And so that's why he is number 4.
So we want to talk about good, not great in the ring when it comes to wrestling. We got Cena, but I feel like Cena is the better version of what people argue about Mr. Hollywood that's not on anybody's list tonight. Hey, Cena.
To piggyback off of what you said, the limited athletic ability thing that was the knock that he got for so long, and not so much anymore, but still from time to time, I always thought was a little unfair. I don't think his matches were 5 moves of doom and that's it. No, I do think that Cena was not putting on, like, you know, Kenny Omega style, Bret Hart style, Bryan Danielson style, you know, masterpieces like that, but he was bell to bell, giving better shit than people were giving him credit for. John Cena, there's something to be said for the fact that you talk about a star who, like you say, was on top for as long as he was and did not leave. The man went, shot movies, came back, and was still there.
Number 3.
Well, yes,
Bing.
just kind of stopped you.
Oh, okay.
The Undertaker. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Macho Man Randy Savage. Speaking of guys who never got told that they were the guy, that they, like, in this business you have to be told by usually one dude who signs your paychecks that you're allowed to be the guy, and this guy was never given that opportunity. Speaking of, maybe in an alternate world it can be anybody that has that spot.
Yeah. That was the first name
I think this guy could have had that spot, and the what if scenario, I don't know how much you can tell me the world would be that different.
I'll go just because I'll keep it short because we already spent a long time talking about him. I picked Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mr. Attitude Era. He was on top when I first started watching wrestling, along with somebody else on my list. I one of his matches that I thought was great when I was younger, but maybe that's just because of the storytelling around it as opposed to the wrestling itself.
What Pete said, man, Stone Cold is one of the greatest of all time. He's Mr. Attitude Era himself. So,
Facts.
yeah.
So just for that, Bill, I'm going to put you in a one-on-one match with The Undertaker. Talk about somebody who kept their fucking character for as long as they did, and the gimmick really never got stale. And you talk about someone who we don't really know the truth behind the scenes, but a lot of wrestlers say was the locker room leader.
Reveal in 3, 2, 1. Rocky Johnson's son, Goldberg, and Bret Hart.
So, yeah, I'll say Goldberg. He was my original favorite wrestler growing up. When I first started watching wrestling, first wrestling show I ever saw was WrestleMania 14. Never watched anything after that WWF-wise. But my friends at school, I was in third grade at the time. My friends at school were talking. No, yeah, I was in third grade. Yeah, my friends at school were talking about WCW. So I'm like, okay, let me check WCW out. I see this dude Goldberg coming around, just coming in, just spearing motherfuckers, just coming in, just wrecking house. I'm like, yeah. This dude, that's my boy right there. Let's go.
It was a
Let's
time.
go.
Bret Hart, what all can I say about Bret Hart? I don't know. Like there is the most I've argued for Brock Lesnar being the most believable professional wrestler of all time just because of his size, his speed, and then leaving and doing real fighting and but inside of a match, the person who can make me believe the most is Bret Hart.
But no, I picked The Rock. Rock is the reason I started. Much like Ibn with Goldberg, The Rock is like, yes, Stone Cold was the guy when I first started watching wrestling, but I was told, hey, there's this dude, The Rock. He's awesome and he's hilarious. And, well, yes, whatever my first introduction to him was right up that alley. I love The Rock to start with.
Peter Maivia's grandson, Rocky Johnson's son, the fucking Rock. Not to go super long-winded after what Pete said, but yeah, I mean, when you talk about somebody who he transcended and in a short amount of time went from being an afterthought to being undeniable and a legend.
3, 2, 1. We have Taker, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin, we have The Rock, and we have Shawn Michaels.
Oh, you hadn't said Stone Cold yet. Fair.
I mean, lots of things I could say about Shawn Michaels. Before his time, match quality wise, of course. The wrestler I have always emotionally resonated with most, emotionally connected with most, even in his heel work.
Oh, yes. And if you ask me, the only other person that has anywhere remotely near an argument for the name Mr. WrestleMania is the guy who had pretty much a showcase match on it for a good 24 years in The Undertaker. The Shriek, which I don't think was touched on earlier in Jazz's point,
I should have said
was one of the biggest things, you know, holding like one of the biggest attractions for WrestleMania for the longest. It got to the point to where it did. Yeah, Taker is probably my favorite character in wrestling.
Oh, okay. I got The Rock. Yeah, y'all too. Pete and Jazz both said what they said about him. I really don't have too much to add to it because I will say he is my favorite wrestler of all time. I do not like the Final Boss version of him, but other than that,
Boss was great. But okay,
he's my favorite wrestler of all time.
That's why when I was asking off camera if we were doing favorites or if we were doing who we think are GOATs, because my favorite wrestler of all time is The Rock. So The Rock would have been number one. But if I have to honestly think about it, if you talk about somebody who they say had the most drawing power, somebody who sold the most merch, somebody who ushered wrestling into the boom period and carried it on his back in the boom period and possibly killed the business by turning into a bad guy, all those signs point back to one certain Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right. Are you all ready for the definitive top 10 GOATs?
I am.
As decided by the four of us, number 10, coming in with 7 total points, Mr. Kenny Omega, coming in as the 9th GOAT because he got a whole big fat 8 points from your boy, Macho Man Randy Savage. Number 8, with 3 points from Ibn and 5 points from myself, Kurt Angle. Coming in at number 7 because he got a big 2nd place nomination by Big Bro Ibn. Number 7 GOAT of all time is Bill Goldberg. At number 6 with a total of 9 points. Also, due to one single 2nd place nomination by myself, Bret Hart. 9 points. Matching points of 7 points each from Jazz and Omari comes John Cena. Number 4 with 16 total points, 6 from Omari and 10 from myself, is Mr. WrestleMania, the showstopper, Shawn Michaels. 3, GOAT of all time, 18 total points. 8 from Ibn, 10 total points from Omari. You have The Undertaker. No, not Ibn. That was placed on Jazz.
I was about to say that was me, right?
That was a Jazz points. The Rock comes in at number 2 with a total of 28 points. He had the first point selection from Ibn and 2 second place selections from Omari and Jazz. And then, very appropriately, as the only person who is on all 4 lists, with 7 points from myself, 8 points from Omari and Jazz, or Omari and Ibn, and 10 points from Jazz, 33 points total, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I feel like that is a very appropriate 10 GOATs.
That's going from 10 to 1. That is an appropriate list. Please, yes, go ahead, look for your boy. You could go ahead and follow me on Instagram under the name Forever Super Jazz. That's going to be FOREVER. I forgot to spell forever. Super Jazz, SUPER. That's what I used to always say. It's been that long. SUPERJAZ, forever spelled correctly. There you go. No, I started a theater company, and we just finished our first 2 seasons pretty much. We got something coming up in November, actually, to go ahead and close out this season. So we didn't finish the season, but whatever. It's an Aquarian Rising production. So you can go ahead and look us up on Facebook under Aquarian Rising Productions, or you can look us up on Instagram, Official Aquarian Rising. And that's going to be Aquarian, not Aquarius.
Everybody knows where they can find me. They can find me here. They can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotabi, Giotabi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240. You know what that means?
I want to see you when I grow up type shit.
Have a good one, everybody.
Adios.